Welcome to the Global Wellness HQ family of podcasts. We are your international headquarters for resources and ideas and insight in relation to the 9 elements of holistic wellness. Join us as we interview local and international wellness experts and learn how you can implement and improve one element or dimension of wellness at a time. Our experts will share their practical tips on wellness in one of these core areas: emotional, intellectual, occupational, physical, environmental, financial, spiritual, social, or habitual. We created our family of podcasts as a resource for anyone who is looking to integrate the 9 elements of holistic wellness into their daily lives. Welcome to the show. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Cash Flow Club. In this episode, we're going to talk about the accounts payable aging summary report. And in a previous episode, we talked about accounts receivable. Today, we're going to talk about accounts payable. And I would argue if you don't have current books and records, you can't run a business. And what I mean by that is it's just dumb luck if you succeed. You're stressed because you don't know where you stand. So, one of the things I encourage all of my audience to do is to make sure that you have the most current accounting software possible and that your books and records are up to date. Now, up to date to me is at least weekly. In a perfect world, they're up to date daily, but at the very, very least, it should be weekly. And if for some reason that's impossible, start with monthly. I know a lot of businesses, they do their books and records on a quarterly or an annual basis. I can't help you if that's your choice. And what I mean by that is you might choose, you think it's cheaper or it's easier, but the reality is you're looking at the cost of something, not the value of it. So I would argue that the very survival of your business depends on having up to date books and records, and that should be your first priority. So, number one thing I say to people, if you're behind in your books and records, get caught up and stay caught up. If your current bookkeeper or accountant can't help you with that, then you might need to look for a different one. Reach out to our community. We have some amazing ones in the space. That's my little rant. Now, let's shift gears and talk about accounts payable. So accounts payable literally means you've bought something on credit and you owe somebody money for it. So for example, if you buy something on your credit card, technically that's an accounts payable. You owe money to your credit card company. If you buy something from, a store, you owe them for that. That's accounts payable. Now, the importance of accounts payable is we want to make sure we're staying current with our vendors and we want to make sure our vendors are happy with us. So much like the accounts receivable, this is how I would normally lay it out. On the left-hand side, this is a list of the people we owe money to, and the current column is less than 30 days outstanding. And then we have a column 1 to 30 days, so that's literally 31 to 60 days because it's current is assumed to be 0 to 30. And then all the way out to over 90 days, that's something where we owe somebody something from 120 days plus. So from their point of view, we're not a good customer if we're over in this column. And it's going to be really hard to negotiate with them, really hard to ask for terms if we're always behind. Now, we're not necessarily going to get caught up today, but if we know that we owe somebody money, at least we can be proactive. What they want to hear is they want us to reach out, say, I know I owe you money. Here's when I plan on paying it. But again, if we're not being mindful of this, we're not showing respect to our vendors, it's really hard to negotiate terms after the fact. So after the aged accounts receivable, I like to look at aged accounts payable. And if you don't know who you owe money to, how do you make business decisions? So this report should be looked at least daily by the people who manage your cash, whether it's a manager, bookkeeper, accountant, and it should be looked at monthly by management, because if we're not paying our bills, that tells us there's something wrong in the business. So this is one of my other quick areas to go to find what's going on with my business. So what I recommend is if you've got a whole bunch of bills, make sure they're all up to date in the accounting records. Make sure we can look at it and say with certainty, I know that I owe these people. Let's work on a plan to make those bills current. And basically, what I do with my clients is we look at the 90 days, and usually there's a problem, there's a reason why something is old. So we want to look at it and say, how do we pay this, or how do we resolve it? If it's a bill we don't plan on paying, we need to make sure that the other party knows that. We need to make sure we have a conversation about it. But the idea is we want to plan and say, okay, we're going to clean up the oldest first. And then what you want to do is over time, these far right columns, these anything over the 61 days, unless there's a real bona fide reason, they should be cleared up. And by the way, sometimes if you have a bunch of mess on your aged accounts payable, it could be a sign that there's something going on in your accounting department. Sometimes they'll leave things as outstanding, and maybe they've taken the payment for themselves. So this could be a good place to find fraud. Not necessarily saying that's the case, but if you're not on top of your accounts payable, you can't make business decisions. I hope that was useful, and I'd love to hear your thoughts below. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our show. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we invite you to either click the link below or scan the QR code to register and listen to other episodes of our podcast. Or if you think your business or you would be a great guest to be on our show, we're always looking for experts in one of the 9 elements of holistic wellness. We'd love to have you. You can either click the link below or you can scan the QR code and complete our speaker intake form. Thank you, and to your wellness.